a situation that everybody seems to have their 2 cents for. We have given ours, but we're not the only ones. And that is the Steelers quarterback situation and what is to come and what they should do and what changes should be made, if any. And that is where we'll start. Cam Newton jumped on ESPN's First Take and said, quote, "No, but you bring back Justin Fields, though," when asked about Russell Wilson returning for next season, "and you develop him the right way, though. Father Time ain't on your side. Russell Wilson ain't no spring chicken." Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers might think that he's a spring chicken because the day before, prior to this, Adam Schefter went on, well, a somewhat disappointing, if you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, report saying, quote, they'd like to go ahead and keep Russell Wilson and re-sign him to keep him in Pittsburgh. There are two logical first-round quarterbacks in the NFL draft. They're not going to get either of those. The top free agent quarterbacks are going to be Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson. Is there another quarterback in the trade market that all of a sudden is going to spring free? Probably not. So this is where the Steelers are. I like both of those comments, okay? I think both of them are logical. Both of them make a lot of sense. One of them ignores a fact, a player, a name that, I'm sorry, but I'm not willing to ignore the way everybody else is. And that's Justin Fields. Because quite frankly, I agree with Cam Newton. Where we sit here today, if the Pittsburgh Steelers season ended and free agency started tomorrow and the Steelers had decisions to make, maybe I'm alone here. Maybe I'm not. I think it's wild to just ignore the fact that Justin Fields went 4-2 and is probably going to get a starting quarterback job in 2025 somewhere in the NFL. Why would he not be given the opportunity to have that in Pittsburgh? That doesn't make sense to me. I think when people talk, and Schefter was the one that brought this up, so he's the one right now doing the talking, where people are talking about Russell Wilson returning. It's almost as if we've hit the point of the Mike Tomlin conversation. Well, who are you going to get to replace him? He's got to be the best option out there. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. And maybe him and Sam Darnold are going to go into free agency and be the talk of the town, the headlines for everybody, not just the Pittsburgh Steelers that need a quarterback. I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, nobody is talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers adding Sam Darnold. Why? Because nobody's sitting around thinking Sam Darnold is the answer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nobody's sitting there saying that's a risk you should take 100%. No, people are saying Sam Darnold needs the right situation. Sam Darnold needs a head coach and an offense that is going to make Sam Darnold work. I don't disagree with that. When it comes to Russell Wilson, I almost feel it's the same thing. And to be quite frank, the Steelers are not that situation. And even if he went out there and threw for 4 touchdowns and no interceptions and 500 yards against Cincinnati Bengals, I'd feel the same way. That the Steelers are a team that don't have almost anything figured out right now offensively. They're going to go into the offseason and they're going to have even less figured out. And they need a quarterback that they can at least attempt to develop into that piece. Because Russell Wilson is a championship quarterback for a team that needs a championship quarterback. And I don't even know if I agree with my exact words there, but that's, if we're going to put him into a positive category, that's what I would put him in. The Steelers are not a Super Bowl champion offense. They are we are just starting to figure this thing out offense. We just built the offensive line. It's not ready yet offense. We don't know who our running back is in 2025 offense. And George Pickens is our only wide receiver once again next season offense. So, yeah, Russ might be the positive, keep it cool, calm, and collected quarterback that Mike Tomlin thought that he needed this season. But I think at this point, we can all acknowledge that the Steelers need to develop their offense and that nobody, it doesn't matter who you are, and we're going to toss out a name here soon, but nobody can come to Pittsburgh that will be available in 2025 and make us all believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers are suddenly a Super Bowl team. Unless I'm wrong there. Unless there is a name that everybody would go, there it is. That's it. Super Bowl champions on the way. You can add a bunch of pieces. I think that. But I think the most likely scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers is that they take the offseason to try to begin to develop their offense. And Russ kind of feels like a Band-Aid. And Band-Aids haven't worked across the board for the Steelers. Why would they work at quarterback? If Justin Fields wasn't the other answer, if Justin Fields wasn't 4-2 as a starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, if Russell Wilson's only good game didn't come in a game where Chris Boswell won it, there'd be different conversations. But at the end of this season, it's very clear right now that Justin Fields is the more promising of the two. And you are just missing out on an opportunity if you're the Steelers to keep Justin Fields cheap, because all you have to do is promise him an opportunity. And that sounds like a much better place to be in than having Russell Wilson for 1, 2, maybe 3 seasons and just waiting for the downfall to happen if it hasn't already started.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way to my partners at DraftKings. The holidays are finally here, and my partners at DraftKings have the perfect gift for you. Right now, all new DraftKings customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up using my promo code ALLSteelers. The crown is yours. That's right. New customers get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins after betting just $5. And don't forget to stay in the action and use your $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. I do it all the time. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings daily fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code ALLSteelers and bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. That's promo code ALLSteelers only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Unless you feel differently. But I look at this and say, Russ is not the quarterback for the Steelers offense or the Steelers future, simply because the Steelers realized in the last 3 weeks that their offense isn't built for right now, and they need to start building it for the future. And, well, 26-year-old sounds way better in that game plan than a 36-year-old.
Yeah, they 100% need to continue to build this offense. And I think that's where the offensive line comes into play. They need to build that, and not meaning they need to go out and get a bunch of new pieces. They need to build with the pieces that they have. You have to give offensive lines time to build. Like, of all the positions in the NFL, you can expect certain positions to just take off right away. Wide receiver being one of them, running back being one of them. They did that with Najee Harris in his rookie year. But offensive line, you're not going to be able to plug and play and expect them to be good right off the bat. This offensive line took about 6 or 7 weeks just to get the 5 guys to stay on the field through more than 2 weeks. They were injured. They were missing guys. Isaac Seumalo was injured. And then when Isaac came back, you lost James Daniels, and you had to get Mason McCormick to get in there and get figured out. So that offensive line needs to be built with the pieces that it has. It just needs to grow together. Quarterback, though, the way this is the Steelers don't need a gunslinger. The Steelers don't need a guy to go out there and win them every single game from the quarterback position. The Steelers need a game-managing quarterback. That's how they're going to win games this year, next year, and for the short term. Right now, they thought it was going to be Russell Wilson. But the problem with Russell Wilson is he's turning the ball over and he's trying to play hero ball. Justin Fields, albeit more equipped to do that, because he's a more talented, just point blank, bar none, more talented person right now at this stage of his career, wasn't doing that early in the season, and you were getting better results. Russ is trying to play hero ball. That's not what the Steelers need. And I don't think that's what Russell Wilson can provide them in the near future. Whereas I think Justin Fields, if you would have given him the opportunity to continue to grow in this offense, you would have seen more and more. And at this point, it wouldn't have been a question. So to me, there are 2 options. It's the 2 guys you already have in-house, and I'm leaning towards Justin Fields right now.
I agree. The Steelers are blessed with the opportunity that right now their offense and their future is a disaster, and it's scary, and it's very nerve-wracking. Fortunately for them, they have two guys that they could pick from. They just got to pick the right one. And it doesn't have to be the Super Bowl winning, this guy is meant and destined to lead us to a championship quarterback. It just has to be the right one between two guys that are on very different ends of the spectrum and do very different things, and hope that it works out. And there's a big possibility that if the Pittsburgh Steelers did decide, hey, Justin is the guy next season, he's the guy that we're going to roll with, that he's a complete bust, that he stinks, that you give him a full season and 4-2 is what he peaked at, and it gets way worse. There's a real shot that goes down just like that. There's a shot that Russell Wilson's the same way. There's a shot that you give Russell Wilson a full season, and this team is not 10-6. They're a little bit worse. And I just think that at that point, just like you said, you got to bank on what they're doing well and what the Steelers need, and what the Pittsburgh Steelers are designed right now to do. And what they will be designed to do next season is run the football and win through guys like Jaylen Warren and whoever replaces Najee, and give the ball to George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth and not turn the football over. And Justin was doing a damn good job at that for 6 weeks. He was doing just fine. The problem is that the Steelers, and this is why he got benched in the first place, the Steelers asked Justin Fields to be a game managing quarterback, and he did that. But the Steelers put the standard that the only way Justin Fields was going to keep the job once Russ came back was to be way more than a game managing quarterback. And he wasn't in the game to do that. They weren't asking him to do that. They were asking him to do the complete opposite of be a game-winning quarterback. Just be a game-managing, don't lose it for us quarterback. And he did that very well. So I agree with you. I think that if the Steelers looked at this and judged it off of what they've asked their quarterbacks to do, Justin's done a pretty good job at this. And you get 10 more years of the guy. I think that's the biggest thing here. At the end of the day, if neither of these guys are a superstar, you take the younger one. That's what you do in every single scenario. If it was a rookie on your bench or Russell Wilson, you'd put the rookie and you'd stick with them long term and say, okay, if it was Kenny Pickett on the bench, you're going Kenny Pickett next season because Russ didn't do enough this year. I don't see a difference with Justin Fields, except for the fact that I got way more confidence in Justin Fields than I do in Kenny Pickett, who we'll get to watch this weekend. So shout out number 7 in Philadelphia.